Hey everybody, this is Eric Schweitzer from the Gamer.com editorial team, and today we're taking a look at some Callisto Protocol gameplay. Now this is all B-roll provided by Striking Distance Studios, but it's identical to what I played at a recent press event. I want to start by touching on the combat, which is a lot more melee focused than the Dead Space games were. Here you see Jacob dodging back and forth and waiting for an opportunity to strike. That's something you have to do manually by tilting the stick left and right to avoid attacks. Now, the gun isn't completely useless, but as we'll see in some later fights, it should really be thought of as more of a utility tool for stunning and hitting weak points. Really, Jacob's stun baton is his primary weapon. As we make our way to the next fight, I want to talk a little bit about Jacob as a character. Jacob is far from a silent protagonist. He comments on what's happening around him a lot, similar to the way Resident Evil characters do. But what really impressed me was the way that he reacts physically to the environments. When it's cold, he shivers. When he gets blood on his face, he wipes it off. Sometimes when there's spooky noises around you, he'll look around nervously. All these little reactions and details help make the world feel grounded and real, and over time gives a picture of what kind of person Jacob is. It may not seem like much, but even in just the hour or so I played, it did make a big difference. I also want to talk about the texture and the atmosphere of these environments. The Callisto Protocol takes place in a deep space prison colony called Black Iron on one of Jupiter's moons, which already sounds like hell, but then we find it amidst this alien invasion of some kind, and it is just absolutely disgusting. Jacob is constantly trudging through sewage and climbing over dead bodies. Here we see him crawling through a tunnel of both. Every single surface is just covered in blood and dripping with viscera, and Jacob is just covered in it from head to toe through the entire game. All of this gore and harsh industrial environments give a strong sense of danger no matter where you're at. And I also want to give the lighting a lot of credit for helping create the atmosphere. Darkness is very scary in this game, and light can be very disorienting, and we're going to see more of that later on. Now I'm going to be quiet for just a moment as we approach the next fight so that you can get a sense of the sound design and the ambient noises that help to build the atmosphere too.
Okay, I see what's going on.
Now you may have noticed a big blue target reticle appear on the enemies after you hit them. This indicates a weak point that you've opened up. You want to pull out your gun and shoot that quickly. Sometimes it will just instantly kill the enemy. The Callisto Protocol does a few different things like that to encourage you to use your melee and range combat together. We'll see another example of that momentarily, but the game is constantly reinforcing the idea that you should not just be backing up and shooting at weak points the way that you would in Dead Space or Resident Evil. This is a very different kind of combat system. You really can't even get away with just trying to kite enemies and shoot at them. Your bullets just don't do enough damage to take enemies down, and you'll run out quickly. You have to engage them in melee and use your gun to stun them, to hit weak points, and for other utility-based reasons. This sequence will kind of give you an idea of how challenging it is to try to fight multiple enemies at the same time. They do not take turns coming at you. They will all come at you at once, and you need to find ways to create space using your weapons, using your grip ability to throw guys around like we just saw, and try to be strategic with the resources that you have. Because of the emphasis on melee combat, bullets and health packs aren't your only resources. Time and space are too. You have to always be thinking about where your enemies are coming from, how much space you have, and how you're going to react to every moment of every fight. That can be really difficult, especially when you're getting surrounded and monsters are coming up behind you. I died a lot in my preview, but you're never put too far back from where you started, and you're meant to sort of learn these fights through trial and error until you figure out the best strategies to get through them with the resources that you have. You may have just noticed another important gameplay mechanic there. Those little tentacles that burst out of that biophage's chest are a parasite. You need to shoot them quickly to neutralize them, and if you don't, the biophage will transform into a more deadly monster that's even harder to kill. They are a lot faster, they have more health, they hit a lot harder, so you want to make sure that you take out those parasites quickly, and you are severely punished if you don't. It's just another reason why you don't want to just walk around shooting off all the ammo that you have, because when you need it, you really need it. We're getting towards the end of what I played during the preview section, and this scene is the first time that you actually get to see the sky, and it was a pretty profound moment after crawling through blood and guts for almost an hour. This is the first time you get a lot of space to move around, and not coincidentally, I think, it's also a forest biome that's full of trees. We haven't seen anything like this before, and it's quite literally a breath of fresh air for Jacob. This is the first time you get a sense that escape is possible, and it really speaks to a strong sense of pacing even in this short preview section that I played. And then this last section shows off some pretty impressive volumetric fog effects you'll find in the game, as well as something I mentioned earlier, which was the way that lighting is used to create tension really effectively. Seeing monsters come in and out of the fog that's backlit by this bright light is an old trick, but it's a really effective one, and the Callisto protocol seems to be using these techniques sparingly and to great effect. I love that moment there because it's a perfect example of why you should not just stand there shooting one guy over and over, because it doesn't take him down and you're for sure going to get jumped by somebody else nearby. I really want to drive the point home that the Callisto protocol does not play like Dead Space, no matter how much it looks like it. There wasn't a single fight that I was able to just breeze my way through. You have to respect every enemy as a real threat that can kill you if you don't react quickly and strategically. You also have to think about how you can use the environment to your advantage, like he did here by picking up this biophage and throwing him into the spiked wall. Opportunities like that are everywhere, but you have to learn how to look for them. This last little teaser is an introduction to a creature that I'm sure we're all going to love to hate. Is there anything worse than something with too many legs crawling along the wall and ceiling? I don't think so. Disgusting, horrible, I hate it. I can't wait to see it again when the Callisto Protocol comes out on December 2nd. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. You can read my full thoughts by clicking on the link in the description, and don't forget to visit us on thegamer.com. That's thegamer, no space.